Why did he even tell me? I'm sorry if this post is inappropriate here since, ultimately, there is no chance of reconciliation at this time. I'm just hoping to get perspective from maybe someone else who's had an experience like this. My 31F, now ex-boyfriend, 34M, was away traveling Europe for the majority of June. He was on tour with his band. I missed him a ton. We texted every day and tried to have a phone call every day. I am an anxiously attached person, so when I felt him not reciprocating affection and communication, I got nervous. I told him my gut was telling me something was up and I feared he was going to leave me when he got home. He told me I was making up stories in my head, that he wasn't dumping me and that he was busy and stressed out and he didn't need me barking down his throat every day. I backed off and kept communication friendly for the remaining 2 weeks of his trip. Everything was great the first 2 days he was home until he revealed to me that second night that he cheated on me with a stranger. He went back to a party at a house, was on a 3-day bender, and slept with some random girl. He claims he can't even remember what city it was in or her name. Okay, face with rolling eyes. I was upset for the first few days, but ultimately decided I wanted to stay and work things out. We existed in this weird limbo for about 3 weeks. He cried and apologized profusely when he confessed, answered all my questions and seemed remorseful. However, he never said anything like I'd do anything to make this right. How can I fix this? I told him I felt like he cheated as an easy out, like it would force me to leave him because he didn't have the balls to break up with me. He denied that and said he didn't want to break up, he loved me, I'm his best friend, he didn't want me to leave. But in the same breath he'd say we needed space, we should take a break, he was dealing with severe depression and didn't feel like himself. He felt like he was going crazy and was not himself at all. We went through 3 weird weeks that felt very uncertain. I was constantly racked with anxiety. I'd ask him often if we could work on things, if he was feeling better, and he'd just tell me he was depressed and needed alone time to think. 2 weeks ago he came home from staying with a friend and dumped me over lunch. Of course I tried to reason with him. I asked him to please not do this. I said if he was feeling depressed and not himself, it wasn't wise to make huge life-changing decisions in this emotional state, but he said I couldn't convince him to not do it. He said I don't want to break up, but I feel like I have to. I'm probably making the biggest mistake of my life. We were together for 2.5 years. We'd been living together for the past year. We had a wonderful relationship. I loved him so much and did everything for him. Made his meals, did laundry, constantly complimented him and told him how much I loved him, helped him out with anything I could. We have many mutual friends, all of whom are shocked and confused that he'd leave me. When people heard we broke up, they assumed I left him because, well, he's kind of a bum and I have my shit together. They've all told him how stupid he is for cheating and leaving me. So why? Why'd he tell me? Did he expect me to dump him? But when I decided to stay, he panicked because now he had to clean up the mess he made. Was that too much for him, so he decided to just walk away instead of doing any work? It hurts that I could be so disposable to him after so much time and connection. I wish he had just taken the secret to the grave. At this point the discard is so much more painful than the infidelity. Thanks for reading, Redheart. Update. 2 years later and my life is so different than I could have imagined. Hi everyone. I haven't used Reddit in a while, but logged in today for a completely unrelated reason and, for some reason, it logged me in on this username. I made this burner account when I was struggling with being cheated on and seeking help. I didn't want to be identified or have it linked to my active Reddit account. Out of curiosity, I read through my old post/comment history and just felt amazed by how much things have changed. A little over 2 years ago, my ex cheated and left me for the other woman. To say I loved him is an understatement. I adored him. I dreamed about marrying him. I thought we were a perfect couple and I wanted to spend my life with him. I overlooked his flaws and the parts of our relationship that were dysfunctional because I didn't care. I just really liked him that much. When he cheated and left me, I was broken and devastated. I lived with him, so I had to move out. I couch hopped for a month before eventually asking my aunt if I could move into a spare room with her. I felt like a loser. I felt guilty for imposing on my aunt. I felt like I was the disaster member of the family who was always having some ridiculous crisis and crawling to someone else for help. I moved and got settled in. At first I was sad to go from a whole house that I lived my normal, adult life in with my boyfriend, to just being alone in a room. Eventually I decorated and made it my own space and I started to enjoy it. My room was very cozy and functional for me. I liked my space. At this time, I was still in touch with my ex, stupidly trying to beg him to want me back, thinking I could win him over. This went on for a few months, but eventually got to the point that things were getting more and more ridiculous. Eventually I just told him we needed to not see or speak to each other and I cut ties. I deleted his number, deleted my social media, and refrained from asking people about him. Since I was still struggling emotionally, I would avoid places and events I knew he was likely to be at. The distance and no contact helped a ton. It works. Like most things that actually work, they suck, they're hard, they hurt, but it's way better to suffer a little now and reach the light at the end of the tunnel than to keep the wound open. It's gradual, but as time goes on you really do start thinking of them less, caring less what they're up to, and you fill your time with other things and other people. I would say it really took me about a solid year to feel like I was over it. It took a year to get to the point where I could hear his name without feeling my blood pressure spike and my nerves get all shot. I did run into my ex one time after I went no contact. He approached me and tried to start a conversation, but I just shooed him away and shook my head no and he walked off. That's the last time I saw him or heard from him. During this year, my life got better. I was happy and at peace in a way I had never felt when I was in a relationship with him. I also really enjoyed living with my aunt. We were never all that close before, but living together allowed us to develop a really nice relationship that I am grateful for. I also spent a lot of time alone, which helped with issues of codependence and anxiety that I had struggled with before. About 6 or so months after I went no contact, I met someone. We started by just talking casually online and became buddies. Eventually we graduated to phone calls most nights of the week. He lived in a different state than me and suggested if I wanted to, I could fly out and meet him. It sounds insane and impulsive, but he was a friend of a friend, so it wasn't like meeting a total stranger. I figured sure, why not, and booked a flight to spend a long weekend. While I knew we got on well on the phone, I didn't expect to like him so much in person. From the moment we met, we just hit it off. The weekend we spent together was so fun, exciting, jovial. It was just nice to be with him, to go out and do things, just to be in his presence. I returned home and we immediately made plans for him to come up to my state to visit me. We went on this way for a while, one of us flying to see the other every 4 to 6 weeks. In March of this year, he asked me to marry him and I said yes. I knew the house my aunt and I were living in would be sold eventually, so the timing all kind of fell into place. Thought it was hard, I decided to move out of state to be with my fiancé when my house was sold. So that's what I did this past summer. I now live in a new state with my fiancé. We have plans to get married next fall. We just adopted a second dog, he already had one, and have a really happy, peaceful, nice life together. I look forward to waking up next to him, spending my weekends with him, even just seeing him after work. He treats me so wonderfully. We are on the same page about most things, share common goals and dreams for our life together, and just really, really like and appreciate each other. I can remember wishing that my ex seemed proud of me, just seemed like he was happy to have me on my arm. I couldn't believe it when I met a guy who actually treats me that way. Anyway, sorry for such a long post, but I just wanted to come on here and share my story because it was helpful for me to hear stories from people who trudged through the misery and came out better for it. While it's great to have met someone new and fall in love again, the most important thing in all of this was that I found happiness within myself. I was a happy person on my own before ever meeting my fiancé. I loved my life and myself, and still do. It's possible to feel joy again, to feel hopeful and excited about your future again, even if it feels impossible right now. Time really is the most important factor. It just takes time to heal and you have to give yourself the space and grace to do that. Love.